Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. After the news you need to know about, we run you through the fan Q&A, we answer fans' questions. This first news story comes from Sports Illustrated. This is the first training camp practice breakdown we've had this year, that we're doing on this show, at least. I mean, there's been 4 training camp practices in total. This one's the most important, though, because Tua obviously signing the contract, which we'll talk about later. This is his first kind of full practice of the offseason and doing major work. So this is a big deal. A lot of interesting stuff happened in this practice. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill took a veteran day off. So did Teron Armstead. Again, this comes from Sports Illustrated, who has yet to practice this week. So as usual, Armstead being looked after. Jordan Poyer worked out, but it was by himself. Nothing new. The Dolphins and their veterans, they always treat them with caution. Running back Jeff Wilson, don't forget about Jeff Wilson, who was honored, who wore the honored orange jersey for having the best previous practice, continued to impress as the most effective runner all morning. The jersey is a symbol of recognition within the team, gave him the right to pick the musical playlist, and he chose to listen to a lot of gospel, apparently. Obviously, if you're listening to the show, you know that whoever gets the orange jersey is the best player of the previous practice. Interesting that Jeff Wilson got it. Don't expect a lot from him with a backfield consisting of 3 really good, talented players, Wright, A-Chain, and Mostert. We'll see if Jeff can do something, but apparently he's having a good offseason so far. Maybe he will make the team. I don't know. Excuse me. Good Lord. We'll have to see in training camp. This is what Jeff Wilson had to say about his offseason so far. This is also in the recap of what happened in camp. To this training camp practice, Wilson said he's perfectly healthy and looking for snaps in a crowded backfield. Quote, "It would be kind of naive not to. If you see how it's going and see where this team is headed, of course, you want to be a part of it because this team is special. So obviously to get some snaps to help the team would be an absolute blessing for me." Here's the thing about Jeff Wilson. I love him. Good dude. Seems like a good dude. But ever since we traded for him in the middle of the season, he had 2 pretty good games, and ever since then I feel like he never. I mean, the Cowboys game was a pretty good game for him as well to help close that game out. But he just never could consistently put good games together, and he always kind of looked like physically he wasn't 100%. So maybe he's better, but he just hasn't looked that great at times. But we'll see what he can do, especially in preseason. I don't think these training camp practices are they're important, but they're not. And I don't know. It's just preseason. We'll really get to see where everybody is. This next news story: Jalen Ramsey joined the practice on 11-on-11s, so he was involved. David Long Jr. was activated off of the physically unable to perform list, which is awesome. Cam Smith gingerly walked off the practice field with a trainer in the middle of practice. Not great. Hopefully he's not going to turn into some glass doll, because we need him, you know. He's very talented. Even last year, from the little that we saw of him, he looked good and great athlete. So it would fit the scheme. I don't know exactly where they would play him, but we can't have him constantly getting hurt. So hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. The Dolphins focused on plenty of red zone work and more running than passing, which is, I think, good. The first big cheer came in our red zone touchdown connection from Tua to Braxton Berrios. In one-on-one drills between the offensive line and defensive line, rookie DT Deshaun Hand threw Liam Eichenberg to the turf. Could be a bad sign. Liam Eichenberg continues to kind of... Liam Eichenberg. They listed him as a linebacker. This might be a typo, because Deshaun Hand isn't a rookie either. That might be a typo. regardless if that's what happened on one-on-ones, it's not great. Tua hit wide receiver Jalen Waddle, who faked out Jalen Ramsey for a red zone score, which is awesome. So Tua 2 touchdowns so far in red zone drills. Rookie linebacker Chop Robinson excelled. This is a big one. Rookie linebacker Chop Robinson excelled in 11-on-11 pass rushes, getting to the quarterbacks on several occasions. He even attempted a sack on quarterback Skylar Thompson as he flew up past rookie O-lineman Patrick Paul. This is great news. Now, obviously, he's not going against Armstead, and this is a rookie. I don't know who he went against the entire practice, but it must have been Patrick Paul. Patrick Paul is the backup tackle. So take it with a grain of salt. Again, I would like to see him against other competition, but the fact that he's doing stuff in training camp is a big deal. I didn't love the pick. He's a phenomenal prospect in terms of everything that you would want to have a pass rusher. His production wasn't great. He's not the biggest player in the world. So it's going to be interesting to see how he translates to the NFL. And it's great news that he's doing well in training camp. That's for sure. Because in previous years, like Charles Harris as an example, or even Deion Jordan, none of those guys did anything in training camp. So that's good to hear that Chop is actually having a good camp, or at least a good practice here. As they put it, he excelled on 11-on-11s. What else do we have here? Okay, here we go. Running back Jeff Wilson busted out another long run on the outside in 11-on-11s. Tua made consecutive long ball attempts, but Elijah Campbell and Jalen Waddle broke them up. Rookie running back Jalen Wright showed off his speed on a long dash on the outside, which is awesome. Tua threw another touchdown. That's 3 touchdowns. Tua threw another touchdown on a backhand shuffle flip to Devon Achane. Tua threw 1 interception on the day when defensive tackle Zach Sealer deflected his pass at the line, and it was intercepted by Javon Holland. Tua stepped up into a collapsed pocket to escape a blitz before hitting Waddle for another touchdown. I believe that's 4 touchdowns for Tua on his first day back after signing the contract. And I like that we're running this Ravens defense, which is very physical, very aggressive. It's good for them to deal with that, because it's some of the defenses we've struggled against. And just hearing that Tua escaped the blitz, stepped up in the pocket, threw a touchdown, that's the stuff we want to see from Tua too, is mobility. So it's good to hear that. Quarterback Mike White hit a long bomb to a wide open tight end Tanner Connor. Tua threw a perfect fade to wide receiver Braylon Sanders for a touchdown over cornerback Kader Kohu. That's 5 touchdowns. If Tua doesn't get the practice jersey, I'm going to be surprised. Imagine throwing 5 touchdowns in practice after you sign a $200 million contract. That's pretty awesome. So 5 touchdowns for Tua on the day and red zone drills. Linebacker Grayson Murphy broke up an exchange between White and Wright for a fumble. Very eventful practice. Thompson threw a low pass slightly behind the line of scrimmage on the ground before cornerback Ethan Bonner scooped it up. Wide receiver Anthony Schwartz said that Bonner is the fastest player on the team. There you go. After practice, several players, including Barrios and Poyer, remained to sign autographs. Very eventful. 5 touchdowns for Tua. Only 1 interception. Chop Robinson playing good football. Sucks that Liam Eichenberg got thrown to the turf, but what else do we expect from him? And yeah, some of the veterans. And by the way, without Tyreek Hill in the lineup, they did that. And Malik Washington. Not a ton from him, but he has been, at least from some of the things that I've read and past practices, has done very well for himself. So that's really good news as well. I'm really excited for Malik Washington and in preseason, as well as Chop Robinson, as well as Muhammad Kamara, as well as Jalen Wright. That whole rookie class, I really like. A lot of intriguing prospects there. And, I know I'm not a huge fan of Chop's drafting him, but at the same time, I'm still very excited to see him play in preseason, to see if he's better than I, and if he can put that stuff together. And sometimes it takes, maybe it didn't all come together for him at Penn State, but sometimes it does in the NFL, and he has all the physical tools to be a great pass rusher in the league. So it's not like he's like Charles Harris, where he's kind of missing a lot of things. especially athletically and strength-wise. Now, he's not the biggest player in the world, so that's the one physical knock against him. But there have been plenty of really good outside linebacker / pass rushers that were smaller that had very good careers. Elvis Dumervil, this is the first one that comes to mind. Dwight Freeney. So there's been a few good ones out there. I don't know, Terrell Suggs wasn't the biggest person in the world, if I remember. I don't think he was I could be wrong about that though. But for sure, obviously Elvis Dumervil and Freeney, who had phenomenal careers, weren't the biggest people in the world. Even Cameron Wake wasn't the tallest. Well, no, Cameron Wake was a big dude. I think he was like 6'4". So that's not right. That's it for the training camp practice. Very eventful. A lot of insightful stuff. Interesting stuff that we were wondering about. Again, I can't wait to see Malik Washington. I have a feeling that he's going to be a very good rookie for us. So obviously this next news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. The Dolphins finally agreed to a contract extension with Tua. It's a 4-year, $214 million extension. Pro Football Talks Mike Floyer reports this deal is a 3-year accord in terms of practical guarantees. As a result, Tua will be in Miami at least through the 2027 campaign. It's a pretty good deal. Most of the guaranteed money is up front. And again, it's really, as they put in the article, mostly the first 3 years. I thought it was a good contract. I think he's getting paid less than Trevor Lawrence, and obviously getting paid less than Jordan Love. And there is the first 2 years, especially if, let's just say something happened, hopefully not anything happens. If they were to let him go in those first 2 years, it's a lot of dead cap. So they're not, honestly, I thought it was a pretty good contract for the most part, and which is good that they finally got it done. I've said everything I need to say about Tua as a quarterback. And there's definitely, I think, even him, his mobility outside of the pocket, and I still think he, at least looking at him, especially in the press conferences, he still looks a lot bigger than he did 2 years ago. But he definitely looks more fit. And again, mobility obviously being a big theme of the offseason for him. And that was noticeable last year, and that he wasn't as mobile outside of the pocket. He was still very good inside the pocket, but outside of the pocket, obviously, he had lost something there. And hopefully we can see improvement in that area. But I love Tua. I think he's a good quarterback. After coming off of some of the stuff that happened at the end of the year, I think had us all kind of pretty upset. But in reflection, and looking at the season as a whole, he had a really good year. Led the team to 11 wins, which they hadn't done in over 10 years, which is a big deal. Was 1 game away from winning the division. 2 games away from having the 1 seed. So there are a lot of the great things he did last year. Were there downs as a team, not just him, and him as an individual? Yes, there was, but he still had a very good season, and I think he's gonna have a really good year this year. So, it seems like he's going off to a great start, throwing 5 touchdowns in his first training camp practice back. That's a pretty big deal. I don't think I've ever read anybody throwing 5 touchdowns. Other than Tua, maybe, in a season. But definitely not Tannehill, or anybody else for that matter, in Dolphins training camp. What was I going to say? I think that's pretty much it. I think I want to say, this is something that I wanted to bring up. I almost forgot about this. This is important. This is what Tyreek Hill had to say about his contract situation. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. Obviously, I let Drew Rosenhaus and the team handle that situation. The only thing I told Drew was, do not get me traded. Last time you did this, you got me traded. That's been my only thing to him. I want to stay in Miami. I think it was Jeff Darlington, and it might have been some other long time. It might have been Barry Jackson, but I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Darlington. I can't exactly remember who it was. They were talking about how the Dolphins, or maybe it might have been Cameron Wolfe. they were talking about how the Dolphins want to get a contract done with Tyreek Hill, and that it's actually likely, which is great news because I think, first of all, he's still relatively young. I think he's only 29, which is kind of crazy. So he has a lot of good football ahead of him, and he's one of the best players in the NFL, and I think that it would be awesome if he finished his career in Miami, and he hasn't showed any signs of slowing down. He's a great player. He's a great receiver. He's one of the best players I've ever seen, and it's awesome that he's in the Dolphins uniform. So I think it's a very big deal that they get this deal done, and he can finish his career a Dolphin. It's a massive deal. And the fact that there is mutual interest, and it sounds like it's trending towards that, and it doesn't sound like Tyreek is going to ask for a whole lot of money. Maybe he just wants a similar deal to what he got the first time around, but just in a longer extension. But I'm very happy that there's been positive vibes coming from the beat writers and the sports media about this, which I think is a good thing, because I was very what do I want to say? What's the word? I guess cautious to believe that he could have more years as a Dolphin after his contract is up. But it sounds like it's going to happen, which is awesome. Really, really good news there. So a lot of positive news if you're a Dolphins fan. Sounds like Chop Robinson's killing it. Tua's killing it, and he got a contract. And Tyreek Hill seems like he's going to finish his career in Miami, which I think is a big deal. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tua, $200 million. Not bad. I think it's a good contract. It's not. I feel like it's a fair for both sides. Yeah, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Super excited for the season to start. I'll see you guys and Kendall Fuller seems to be doing really, really well. And I'll see you guys in the next one.